this is Jamie from Jamie Marriage from Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. So let's get started. Alright, let me bring in my supplies. Okay, I'm going to use a piece from this Tidings of Christmas Designer Series paper. Just a little scrap of it. Get out my card bases, these pieces. Alright, I'm going to be using the Hammered 3D embossing folder. Artistically inked, I'm using the sentiment, and I'm using this stamp here. I'm using iconic dies. I'm using this fern. I've already die cut it out. I'm using giving gifts dies. I'm using this leaf. And this die here, I can't remember which set it came out of. It's one of the more recent ones. It's a label die. Those up here. Okay, as far as paper, inks. I have crushed curry, pumpkin pie, real red, and cherry cobbler. There's that fern cut out with gold foil. I've got two little banners, tails, just they're 1/2 inch wide, just varying lengths. This is maybe 1/2 inch, and this is about 1 inch. I have a scrap of white to stamp my sentiment on. I have a 1/2 inch strip of that Tidings of Christmas Designer Series paper. I have a 1 7/8 by 4 1/8 inch piece of white that is to stamp on. I have a 2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of white that I'm going to die cut these leaves out of. I'm just going to center it up in the center there and cut it out, run it through my machine. I have a 2 1/8 by 4 3/8 piece of real red. A 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of white, which is run through that hammered metal 3D embossing folder. And my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Let's put these ones aside. I'm going to put these ones up here so I don't lose them. Okay, and let's do our stamping first. So this one's going to get the sentiment, so let's go ahead and do that one first. I'm going to do cherry cobbler and the hello. Go ahead and just stamp that in the center here. Perfect. That will get cut out using this die. Okay, set that aside. Okay, now in this one, we're going to bring in this stamp. And there's a hair sticking there. And I'm going to start with crushed curry. And I'm just going to get some crushed curry on there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my chamois here. Wash that off. And I'm going to put a little bit of pumpkin pie. Ink it up. Oops, I just stuck my fingers in it. Okay, wash it off. I'm going to come in with real red. Stamp it right in the middle. Wash it off. Come in with crushed curry. And I'm just going to stamp one of the ends. It doesn't need a lot. I'm just going to come in and put just a little tiny bit of this in there. Okay? And wash it off. Okay. That's all the stamping. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece here, center that up, and this piece here with the leaves die right in the center of it, I'm going to go and run that through my die cut machine. And I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alright, this is scrap. We're going to put this aside. Somewhere where they're not going to get lost. Alright, and you'll see when you run this one through, it cuts the leaves. We're going to use both the little pieces that it cuts out and this piece. So we'll put these aside for a minute, if I can get them off of here. Whoops. Come on. I think I need to get a new plate. They're starting to stick. Okay, now let's turn this over. Yeah, that's sturdy on that side too. Hold it. Oh, I can probably just get it right out of the way. So we're done stamping. Now we're going to take this piece, we're going to mount this one behind it. Let's put some dimensionals on the back of this. One more there, I think. Okay, so we're going to take those backs off. I'm going to center that on there so that's why this was a little bit smaller, so that you'd have that room. And if you get it so that it shows, just bring in your snips, angle them underneath the white one, and just trim it. Nobody's going to see it anyway. Okay, now let's bring in the rest of our pieces. This is going to get mounted on this real red piece, and it's just going to have a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around it, because it's just an 1/8 inch larger than this piece. Go ahead and use my wet glue here. That gives me that wiggle room I need to make sure I get it where I want it. Okay, I want it to go this way. Now on this piece, we're going to take this 1/2 inch strip of Designer Series paper, and we're going to put it on one end like a 1/4 inch away from the edge. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like it to be straight. Okay, and then I'm going to snip off the extra. Okay, now this can get mounted on the front of our card. Oops. And I'm going to put quite a bit of glue because this is very textured. that on the front of the card. Should be the same size, but it seems to be a little bit, card's a little bit bigger. Okay. Off my hands here. Okay, now this is going to get mounted here. Before we do that, we're going to bring in these two gold things. One's going to go underneath here, and one's going to go underneath here. So we want to go ahead and glue this piece down. I'll leave that one sitting there. While it's still wet, we'll maneuver the other one in. And it's going to overlap. I need it to go up just a little. It's going to overlap this strip about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to stick a little glue underneath there. This one, put a little glue on the back of it. And tuck it in up here at the top. Tuck it in. Okay, and these two, I got this one a little bit higher than I would have liked it, but that's alright. Okay, now we'll bring in our hello. And I'll put a dimensional on the back of it. And I only want it on this end, on the O end, because the other part is going to sit on top of here. Okay, so I have dimensionals just on that end. A little bit of glue here on this end. We'll go ahead and place that down. Okay. Now we're going to bring in this gold fern, and it's going to go here. So I need to remember I need to just put glue on this side of it. Okay, go ahead and set that down. Okay, now I'm going to bring in mini dimensionals. It has a wider edge here, and I'm just going to clip a little tiny strip from that edge, and I'm going to cut little tiny little squares. And I'm going to put one under this leaf here. This leaf here. Just so it's not floating in thin air. One more. And then I've got one more little piece here. So I might as well see if I can get one under there. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to bring in those leaves that I cut that came out of here. One's going to go there, so let's go ahead and put that down. Maple leaf. And then I'm going to bring in this one here to go next to it. And I'm going to bring in one of those little dimensionals. Make sure it's popped up enough. I think it probably is. It's sitting on top of that gold better. Let's just stick this under this leaf here then. Okay, and then we're going to bring in one other leaf and put it down here. Wonder if I want it up here instead. I think I want it down here. There we go. There's a card we just made together. See all the detail in there? Here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.